Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the AI InterConnect podcast. I'm your host, Lauren. On this show, I sit down with founders, operators, and leaders who are building real system and solving real problem with AI. AI InterConnect is a platform where we explore how AI moves from concept to execution and what is really take to make it really work in the real world. Today I'm joined by Xiaochen Zhang, Chief Responsible AI Officer and Executive Director at AI 2030. And AI 2030 is a global initiative focused on helping leaders and organizations adopt AI in a responsible, trusted, and scalable way. Xiaosheng, thanks for being here. Very happy to have you on the show.
Thank you for the invitation. I'm very excited about this conversation.
Wonderful, wonderful. I hope I pronounce your name correctly, but I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. And let's start with your background, so listeners understand the path that led you here. You've been working at the intersection of AI, policy, and enterprise for years across organizations like the World Bank and the AWS, and now with AI 2030. Chaoshang, how did your journey lead you to focus especially on responsible AI and to build AI 2030?
Yeah, definitely. In my whole career, and I'm always an impact person, where I care about real problem. I care about helping people, helping the environment, and do good. So that's where I start my career in World Bank, UN, and that has always been part of me. And of course, when you want to do good, you always look for what are the new solutions, and emerging technology always. Are a very important piece of that. So that's why in my career you see that I work for organizations like FinTech for Good, AWS, 2030, trying to really just leveraging emerging technology to create solutions to address the problem that I care about. And the third component is really around the community, where that I believe that impact are those that problems always owned by a community, and emerging technology can address the community problem, can also create a new problem for the community. So then to just create this global movement where everyone is aligned to just make AI to be responsible by 2030 is a mandate, personal mandate for me, and that need community participation. So that's where I started the AI 2030, trying to bring leaders who care about it, who know about it, who know how to just empower others, all to get working together toward the same goal.
Okay, I love it. Okay, that's great. There's a lot of noise around AI today, but very little clarity on what responsible AI actually means in practice. And when you explain AI 2030 to someone outside the AI space, how do you describe what you actually do and will you help?
And yeah, we always start a conversation by understanding the other part. And we don't want to just, throw a framework to them, say, hey, this is our responsible AI understanding. You have to take it. Our approach always, to understand what are you doing, and how are you using AI, and what problem you try to solve with AI, and there, what are the critical components within the responsible AI pillars which are relevant to your solution, to your AI system. Good example, if you are a bank, you are building a customer-facing AI solution to deliver, loans, where there that is very clear. Well, our question will be around, how did you train your data? And are there, bias when you just bring data into the model and are there the data is representing the customer you are serving, or there's risk around the bias that can just create different type of result that you unexpected result, or you are a regulated industry, you are complying, you need to comply with regulators. So do you understand how you can just present evidence with from your AI system to regulators if regulator ask for your clarification of certain decisions your AI system made? Are you able to do that? Or you are again financial service organization, security is number one. If you lose people's deposit and all that, that'd be challenge. Do you understand the Gen AI specific risk associated with your agents? And if you have you put together the guardrail, or to make sure that your infrastructure, your application really have that kind of security which needed for that specific use case. So every question we ask are very tailored, intentional, and that's related to a specific use case that's a specific individual are working on.
Awesome. This is great. And okay, then which type of organization get the most value from working with you?
Definitely regulated industry. And, the reason is that regulated industry are exposed to, compliance requirement. They already have a long history, great expertise in, complying to different regulations. What what AI bring, to their job some new challenge. The challenge is not they need to change 100% of their work. The challenge is that AI brought 5%, 10%, 20% of the new risks which they need to manage. And what we, help them is to identify what are that 5%, 10%, 20% of new risks. Their consequential decision will, create potential, um, undesirable consequence to their customers, and how that can be addressed. And that can, from their side, and they can see, by engaging in this topic, by engaging us, then they can help, this can just help them to manage their relationship with their regulators, managing relationship with their customers, managing relationship with their broader stakeholders. So that is how they can see the real benefits. And of course, for non-regulated industry, because it's non-regulated and it becoming educational, and that always take a lot of time, and also to align a lot of things, which a lot of time is that people on the other side of the table, they just don't have that kind of desire because there's no mandate in their job or in their industry.
Yeah, no, definitely. And this is very, very interesting. What part of your work creates the most leverage today?
Yeah, we try to address the three gaps within mainstreaming responsible AI: awareness gap, talent gap, and a tooling gap. So those are the three things we think are very critical and not being sufficiently addressed. And we, as a small organization, can potentially help. From awareness, basically, if your organization, from leadership to your technical team to the operational managers, if people who don't know about responsible AI, don't care about it, don't know what to do about it, then you need raising awareness and say, when you developed a responsible AI, you when you develop a AI application, AI system, and you need to do it responsibly. And then this should be their, in their mental model, how they just build a system or build a product. So that awareness piece is very important. We, publish papers, bring closed door, working groups, and extending our AI councils and the global membership. That's all around awareness. The second, gap is the talent gap. If you really, know what to do, but your people are not ready. They are not, when you want to do, AI responsibly, and technical people need to really have knowledge and expertise in humanity related subjects. Similarly, if a non-experts, if you are working on AI governance, or try to just bring fairness into your AI system, you need to be able to engage in model related engineering conversation. So how to just empower the next generation of responsible AI leaders, that itself is also something we do. And we created a certified responsible AI leaders program specifically to empower this next generation of responsible AI leaders. The third gap is the solution gap, where that, if you have the people, you have the awareness, then you want to do it by the end of the day to, clean up the data and remove bias from the model, and to just, make a system secure. And we are talking about solutions. And many times that there are so many solutions, and, some don't know which solution they should adopt. Some may even don't know where to find them. So then through our accelerator program, we help those responsible AI solutions to be discovered, to be found, and to have the opportunity to scale. And if they are not in our accelerator program, and we can potentially bring them on our responsible AI marketplace. So then they can still, to be found, and then the right organization who have the right mindset and can spend, much less searching searching efforts, find the right solution for the specific use cases.
Wow, this is amazing. And then, therefore, what truly differentiates AI 2030 from other AI initiative or communities?
There are a couple of things we are unique, and one I would like to recognize that in this space there are tons of organizations who are working on responsible AI, but all from a very different perspective. We are unique in the way, number one, we are totally a bottom up organization. We are not representing any business interest. We are not funded by any specific organization or business, and we are not going to represent any of their interest. And secondly, that we are not a you know advocacy organization. We are not going to negotiate or advocate a specific policy on behalf of specific members. And we have policy expertise, and we bring our policy insights, but our goal is not to just influence policy making or to create a better condition for certain business. And the third part is that we are trying to create a global movement, where that itself also are very different. A lot of those organizations trying to just provide expertise or as a think tank only, and we are think tank also create global movement. We have 6,000 members across 60 countries, and then we constantly continue to expand our reach. That also give us a unique, value proposition and expertise. Our members are really, solid, experts in the space. Although we have a membership program and we are different from others, also we are not a member organization, because when membership is a program, and then we don't really need to say we serve the public rather than only for our members. A lot of our programs, you can see that we invest our time efforts into serving the public broader interest, not this 66,000 people. And last one is that we do have expertise in several different areas. We have 8 working groups working on agentic AI security, AI for impact, and for workforce development, financial service industry working group, healthcare working group, and public sector working group. We do have those, working groups, which just brought a lot of expertise from the industry to dive deep into those topics. We do have, capacities to do a lot of things. And of course, that from accelerator itself is also unique in the sense that a lot of accelerator program is only accelerator, and we are responsible for accelerator owned by a think tank. And so that's we have the solution part, and but that solution part can just also be facilitated by our global movement that we are creating, and then those solution potentially can bring feedback to our community as a potential solution can be adopted by the broader communities.
Oh, that's amazing. I love it. Um, Building AI is already hard, and building trusted AI at scale adds another layer of complexity. Right now, what feels like the hardest part of scaling AI 2030 and advancing responsibility AI adoption?
Yeah, our main approach is really, we are a leadership empowerment organization. Our approach is, if we can empower individual leaders, corporate leaders, startup leaders, nonprofit leaders to becoming responsible AI leaders, then they can just, make changes in their organization or in their personal choice, and then we achieve our goals through them. So there, that's you can see many of our programs is really to identify who are the leaders we want to empower, what are the gaps that they have, and then to bring the right capacity and resources to empower them. One of the good examples is our Responsible AI Pledge program. And you can make an individual pledge, you can make a corporate pledge. We define our foundational pledge and also vertical specific pledge. You as a individual organization don't know what action you need to take to make AI responsible. We gave you different activities, actions you can take, and you as an individual can make a choice. Yeah, inform the choice and say, I'm going to establish a AI governance body. I'm going to just include AI workforce development into our AI strategy, or I'm going to just follow or adopt AI responsible AI principle or framework. So all those, you can choose from all the activity actions, and we help you to just choose the right one, and then to achieve the goal that you committed or you pledged. So through that approach, you become a leader. We achieve our goal through you.
Amazing. And okay, great. Where where do you feel the most friction today? Maybe a technical challenge, or the cultural challenge, or the leadership challenge?
It definitely for us, because we chose to, leaders are our changing agent. So we would say that it's, definitely that's our mental model. That's we do have, AI challenge for us is a leadership challenge, and that's leaders need to lead properly, and that properly means leaders need to have the right awareness. If you are, CXO, if you're a board member, if you're a government official, to scale AI responsibly means that you need to really understand that what you are doing, and much more funding in a way which is beyond your scope of work even. And good example is that where when you just looking at accessibility as an example. If you are a business owner or a technology company, you developed features, for someone who lost their voice or vision, and AI now just bring their voice back. And then later, and after, you use their data to train a model to, design the offer, and you brought the offer to them at test, and then with this test and all that, you get investor excited, and then they pull all the money into you to scale this feature and other feature as well. Then you figure out, oh, this feature itself can only serve 5,000 people or 10,000 people. That feature is not being used commercially properly for revenue purpose. You can now, you as a leader can make a decision. One, I just phase out that feature as a economic, based on economic and business decision. Or you can see that my AI is designed to serve 100% of population. That feature is critical for many people. I use their data train the model, and I have already commercial benefit from that. And then there is, expectation this feature itself will impact their life fundamentally, and I will just continue the feature. So that is a very difficult decision, but only leaders who really have that awareness are able to make that hard decision, and to protect the integrity of the company. And by the end of the day, that only a company who care about your customer, in the long run, you can be successful.
Yeah, that's right. Uh, then we are we are seeing a massive investment in AI, but governance, compliance, and trust are still catching up. Um, from from your vantage point, what shifts in AI adoption or governance matter most right now, but is still underappreciated?
Yeah, in general, technology advancements have always been faster than the governance, than the social care, and because yeah, technology literally can happen in a void space where that's um, if you don't just try to say solve people's problem. And technology have always been there, and it will always advance in a speed which institution and society cannot catch up with. So that's a very general statement. And when you just look at AI specific, where that's because this technology itself is very different from any other technology, because it's a general purpose technology, and its a usage, and also the impact of technology to the society are only to be uh, understood better as time goes by. So it's very difficult for regulators, or the society to just govern it or regulate with clarity from beginning. So you need to leave that space for technology to continue to show up, and um, to work its magic and create problem, and then the response you can respond it to it properly. So there, that I believe that regulation is the last resort, where that if this is in other technology, maybe we can wait for regulators to come in, provide clarity, then you act. But in AI, if you wait, if regulation becoming our primary, you know, uh, solution to for responsible development, adoption, all that, and we can potentially enter into a space which humanity are and will facing large disaster or the tipping point which there's no way back. So we need to just really create this global movement. Everyone need to just start doing things responsibly, even without regulatory clarity. And that for us is very important. And otherwise, we can see the current conflict or the interesting lawsuit, between Anthropic and the Department of War, where that who should control AI, and is that if there's a very clear legal base, and then there's no conflict, right? Everyone's but because technology is so advanced so quickly, the companies see that there is a threat to humanity, and then there's a government who supposedly to serve the public and having that mandate to make that decision. But now that's in the lawsuit, the the court need to figure out who make the right decision on behalf of the society. That itself is a very good reminder that we cannot wait for the court or the regulation to just provide clarity, and humans and individuals and companies, NGOs, public, government official need to make that personal choice, from very beginning without clarity.
Yep, definitely. Very, very important. And you're operating at a global level with summits, education, partnership, and ecosystem building. Um, Looking ahead, 12 to 18 months, what does success realistically look like for AI 2030?
Yeah, we have different internal KPI and external impact impact indicator. From the external impact indicator, by 2030, you know we defined one success factor is by 2030 at least 50% of the data used for a model training coming from diversity data. And we have another goal is, by 2030, and the major AI related failure will reduce by 90% compared with the 2023 level. And so, under each pillar, we have very specific target for the broader society. And internally, our KPI really, we have the KPI membership. We want to create this global movement with meetings, people participation. We have the training related KPI, and this many of the leaders who receive our training becoming certified responsible AI leaders. And we have incubator accelerator related goal, and how many responsible AI solution that we accelerated, and how many how they are being adopted, and through adoption how many final customers communities are positively impacted by those solutions. So we do have those specific internal KPIs as well. Yeah.
Wow, beautiful, wonderful. If you had fewer constraints, um, what you what would you accelerate first? More money,
And
more time.
yeah,
you
so I
know.
think again, because we are a small organization, and we are also facing the scaling challenge. So
Yeah.
scaling need more resources, more human capital, more brain power, and more willingness of people who join the movement. So then definitely, for us, the biggest challenge is still is very similar to many other organizations. It's a scaling challenge. Yeah.
No, no, of course, of course. Um, okay, you work closely with executive and organization trying to implement AI in real environments. Um, Based on what you have seen, um, what should leaders or operators start or stop doing when it comes to AI adoption?
Yeah, I think they should start doing. Number one is to align their business goal um, with the AI that they try to develop. Because many of the leaders who just want AI because it's hot topic, it's hype, and then or they see others of with AI with productivity enhancements, fired a bunch of people, they got excited, say bring AI to fire people. So there that's number one is they didn't really just align the AI side with their, the value of the company. And I think that is of as a leader and how to achieve that value alignment. That is the number one. Number two is that really to build the right capacity, because a lot of time that's um, I have seen that many of the operators have just changed the title of internal people without giving empower them, and suddenly they expanded their mandate and have an AI title or have AI mandate, but without empowering the individual. And a good example, some of my compliance the member, A23 member working on compliance. Then, now because of AI study that, they are part of the AI governance body, they need to sign their name uh, on all AI procurement contract. They are not, lawyer, but they put their name there. And then there's no training or any support to them. And then now that they are liable for a large, procurement contract, and before that was not part of their mandate, they feel uncomfortable, but no support to them. So how, the company need to really identify, the collaborative intelligence related, you know, new area to redesign the work and make sure that everyone who are put into that position are being empowered properly. And the, the third thing is really from, how to test and before you scale. And testing in the way that, because if you don't, if again, test itself is really very interesting because you can test it in a very small population or sample with very limited diversity within that sample, and when you just launch it at a scale, you find all the challenge with your product, and then when you try to fake it after launch, you already lost your reputation. You may already just being sued by your customer, and you lost the trust. So that's I think to really do it, to pilot properly and before you launch, that itself will be very important. You make sure that before the scaling part, all the potential problem and the most important problem are surfaced, and before you scale that you can control manage the risk properly.
Yeah, definitely. Then what will you tell what will you tell your younger self before entering this space?
I have two young children. One is 4 years old, one is 6 years old, and even to them, and I already see that I use AI to engage them in a different way. And number one, for me, that's um, AI is empowering me to becoming a better father or better parents, because a lot of time that's I don't have all the knowledge, because you can imagine a 4 year, 6 year old, and they have the why question, about everything, and not necessarily that I have all the answer. But now with AI, that's literally this becoming my very good machine to provide them some answers, and sometimes that AI provide much better answer than my own answer. So I think then to here I can see the human in the loop part, me interact introducing AI to my young children, while that I'm in the loop to make sure that I can just number one, and to help to shape the prompt. Number two is to just interpret the result, and make sure that my children are still in the learning mode, and get answer, but continue to grow into what they can become. So then the human in the loop and all that. That's for the younger self. I would say I would do exactly the same. How I introduce AI to my children. Number one is that to ask why, and that stay be curious, and I think that itself, after I introduce the AI to my children, and then literally that's they always ask me, can I talk to Gemini, can I talk to ChatGPT, can I talk to, and because if they have something,
Really?
and then they do want to talk to them, and then because a lot of time that the conversation can go deeper, they like it. This other than curiosity, the second is really keep yourself really um have the learning as a long, like lifelong strategy, where that's when within very short period of time after ChatGPT was introduced till now, it's only 2 to 3 years. How many iteration of knowledge or tools which are essential for your daily life and your job have been introduced? If you don't really have that mindset to learn, now you are already much, you already left behind. You don't have the machine intelligence to empower you. You are less productive, you are less intelligent, and you're less competitive. So then to really have that learning head, is very important. The third is, I think, really engage real world problem, where that you can just stay there and say, now I have the most exciting tool to do things, I can do anything. But try to really figure out what are the meaningful problem, and using the tool to engage a meaningful problem. I can guarantee you then any meaningful problem are related to humans. And the nice thing about engaging real problem is that in the future, in the collaborative intelligence framing, where that humans are the the differentiation factor of humans are really the human relationship and human intention, human dignity, human ethics, all those kind of things, all embedded in the real problems that you try to solve. If you solve some, you know, problem in the vacuum, and of course, then you can just have great results. And I can guarantee you don't learn much, because the next day there's another tool which can solve that problem in a much better, much faster way. But only if you solve the human problem, and then you will becoming you'll be able to see your personal growth, and then that growth itself make you a better fit in the AI era.
Yeah, definitely. I just love um, your talk with your children. I imagine how lucky how lucky they are. They always have an answer, and a correct one, with the right guardrail from you. And at 4 and 6, they're already using ChatGPT and Gemini. It's great. I love it. Congratulations. Uh, Shoshan, Thank you so much for joining. Strong insight into your journey, your industry, and the work you're doing at AI 2030. Thank you so much for taking the time.
I really enjoyed our conversation, and love to just share and in the future. And I really appreciate the opportunity.
Definitely, we need to do it again and with more. I mean, what's going to happen? Things are moving so fast. And yeah, let's do it maybe next year or even sooner. And I hope to have and keep going, keep the conversation going. Thank you so
Awesome.
much, Soshan.
Thank you.
And that's it for today's episode of AI Interconnect. If you enjoy it, share it with someone who's building the future, or better yet, someone who should be. And until next time, stay curious, stay creative, and keep building. Thank you. Thank you, Soshan.